This will look silly. There's no laughter and clapping. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're live. We're live. Training the trainer. Okay. So I ran a session yesterday that's recorded for you guys about being an order maker instead of an order taker. Julian in our company messaged us after the meeting that he was going to a sales appointment and he turned a 1 item or 2 item sale to a client in clothing to, I think it was $11,500 order. So good job, Julian. He said that he used the order maker strategy at the meeting from the last video and it worked for him. Of course, it worked for him. And this is actually going to be a nice leeway into training the trainer and developing leadership, okay? So with sales, I'm going to start with sales, okay? With sales, you have input and you have output, okay? So there's an input that you put into here, and then that produces this output over here. Make sense? Everything in life is input and then output. So for example, if you put lots of junk food and sedentary behavior into your body, like if you're lazy and you eat a lot of junk food, you're going to be fat. Okay, so let's draw an example. So I'm going to draw like, this is French fries with a big M on it. McDonald's, right? French fries, fat. You guys understand that? French fries, fat? This is really important for leadership development. French fries, fat. Very simple. French fries, fat. Okay? And then, because you have input, output, you also have output, input. Meaning that if you're fat, if I have the output, if I see that you're fat, I know that definitely, there's something that is incorrect in your diet if the result you want is to not be fat. So if you're fat, there's something in your diet and lifestyle that's creating your fatness. Can we just all agree with that for a second? That we can determine from the output what the input might have been. You're fat, you probably have a terrible lifestyle. If I see you're very fit, like you're ripped, you're making some different lifestyle choices, I can infer the input from the output, okay? That's really important to understand. Inputs have outputs, okay? So let's go back here. So in sales, okay? The output is that you're a clown. I'm going to draw a clown. What I mean by clown, we talked about this a little bit yesterday. You're a clown, they're going to give you a clown unibrow, okay? If the output is that you are a clown, like meaning that you are not getting sales, you're getting bad results, like the thing that you want is good results, but you're getting bad results, that means that the input is some clowny stuff, okay? There's a term in science or computer science called GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. Okay? There it is. If you say stupid things on the phone, then you will get bad outcomes. Easy sales. If you say good things on the phone, you get good outcomes. Okay? We'll come back to that in a second. And so it is with leadership. Okay? So let's just erase this. We know all this is true. Okay? So we know that, so remember the input output. That's really, really important. Input output. It's really, really important. Certain inputs lead to certain outputs. So in leadership, you have input and you have output. That's it. In leadership, you have input and you have output, okay? So if I see, let's give you an example. Let's say we say you can, we're going to help you be a leader in our company. Like you're going to lead a team, and we hire somebody and that person doesn't sell anything. Then we hire another person and the person sells but then quits. Then we hire somebody and that person doesn't sell anything. And then we hire somebody and that person doesn't sell anything. So the output is clown results. Clown results. Okay, you have clown results. If the output is clown results in leadership, what is the input? Well, we have two options, right? I'm doing everything right and failing for years. And so what are you going to change? I'm going to change nothing because I'm already doing everything right and just failing all the time. Or maybe you're just doing clown things. And so sometimes I go on Pearly Things, you know, the podcast, and it's so amazing to me. You get these women there, they're like, God, they're horrible. They're like 38 years old. They've been ran through like a train, like just terrible. And, you know, and you're like, and then they're like, oh, I'm going to be a mother. It's like, nah, you're like, nobody's going to marry you. It's like, yeah, they are. It's like, what are you going to do differently? Nothing. I'm doing everything right. It's just the last 14 dudes that banged me all are terrible. Yeah, okay, so it's their fault that you're, you know, it's like completely not acknowledging the common denominator. You understand that? If you get clown outputs, it means you have clown inputs. Okay? Now, clown outputs, clown inputs, right? Obviously, clown outputs. So let me give you an example of somebody that's a really big leadership clown. This is leadership clown, okay? You hire somebody, they quit. 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 But then you talk to those people that quit, and they're like, oh, but you're such a great leader. You're like, I'm a great leader. They say I'm a great leader. The people that quit, that didn't follow me, they say I'm a great leader, so it must be true. That's like the guy that's like, you know, I'm husband and boyfriend material. Why? Because every girl that's never gone out with me on a date says I'm a great guy. Like, if you take clown feedback seriously, you're a clown. You cannot take feedback from a clown. Do you understand that? Like, if somebody as a leader quits on you, consistently, people that quit on you and they're like all your friends and they love you, they don't love you. Like, you're just a clown because you're getting feedback from a clown. You can't take feedback from a clown, right? Clown inputs lead to clown outputs. Clown inputs lead to clown outputs. So if you're fat, you're putting bad stuff into your body. If you can't sell, you're bad at selling. The inputs are bad. If your leadership results suck, you're bad at leadership. Okay? But here we have a problem, okay? Here we have a problem. Delusion. Delusion. Closely related to the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? Delusion is when the actions you are taking towards the results that you want don't match up with getting the results that you want. That's delusion. Okay? Like, if we give you a sales script that has worked for everybody in our company, that every top producer uses, we give you that script, you're like, follow this script, you're going to be amazing. And you're like, you know what, I'm going to use my own script. And then you keep using your own script and you keep failing. You have nothing to show for your sales. Okay, but you believe it's going to help you sell doing it your own way. You're a clown because you have no credibility to do the thing you're doing. You're not competent enough to know that you're incompetent. You're just an incompetent clown. And it's the same thing in leadership, right? Like, I get this in sales with rookies that I'm going to fire. They refuse to acknowledge that their output sucks, and they refuse to acknowledge their input. So I'll have a call with a salesperson, a new salesperson. Hey, man, you know, you're in month 2 right now. You're really behind where you need to be. Well, and they give me all these excuses. I'm like, listen, we're going to have to play a game here, okay? Either you tell me your excuses and you're unwilling to budge from them, in which case you will be fired because I don't want to keep paying you, or you're going to have to change your actions. Like, immediately right now, starting today, you're going to have to change your actions. And then usually they argue with me like, yeah, but you're misreading the situation. I'm like, really, rookie salesman that has 0 results ever in sales? I'm misreading the situation? Really? So we get a delusional person, and that's a clown. And I get this with leaders as well. And not like once or twice. This happened a lot of times. Now, I got some amazing leaders in the company that understand how to lead, and they show the results in leadership, right? And then there's people like, they make the stupidest mistake, and I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to call you out. This is stupid, and you shouldn't do it. And they argue, no, you're wrong. You're misreading me. It's like, no, I'm not, man. No, I'm not. You know what percentage of companies make it over 10 million revenue? Less than 1 in 200. And we're in that frame. Like, if you were to pick 250 entrepreneurs and line them up, and at random, you'd have to say which one's number 1 statistically. This company's number 1. And I'm CEO of this company. I'm the founder of this company. Number 1 out of 200. Now, if you have Jack Welch, God bless his soul, standing in that line, I'd go with Jack Welch's opinion over mine. I would, because he's shown bigger results. Okay, but if you're not selling as much as me, then I'm not going to take your feedback seriously on sales. I will not. Why would I? To me, you should be learning from me. If you're selling more than me, I will go to you and ask. Okay, and the same thing in leadership. Like, I have a leadership coach. I pay him $6,000 an hour. I pay him $6,000 an hour for a phone call. That's the actual fee he charges. That's not even that expensive. Like, Tony Robbins will charge like $100 grand. Okay? $6,000 an hour. Why? Because this CEO coach, the guy that's coaching me, he's grown 2 companies to over $100 million revenue. Now, I'm paying him $6,000 an hour. I don't have access to him for free. Now imagine he's like, Dimitri, here's what you're doing wrong. And I start arguing with him. No, but you don't know what you're talking about. He's like, okay, well, thanks for your $6,000. I'm not helping you anymore. Bye-bye. And so sometimes I try to help leaders that are, I'm coaching for free because I want them to grow in our company, and they start arguing with me. And I'm like, delusion. And then those people don't make it through leadership. Usually I terminate their opportunities for leadership in our organization, because why would I invest time into arguing with somebody that clearly knows less than me but just wants to be right? We don't want to deal with that, right? So leaders, this is good for you with rookies as well, right? If your rookies are arguing with you about what works, what doesn't, and you clearly have more credibility, just say, hey man, look, here's the deal. You're welcome to argue with me, but understand that is going to be the end of your tenure here, because you have no credibility to tell me what's right and wrong. You don't have the results. If your results suck, you're useless. Yeah, we're not a summer camp, right? We're a company. You can tell that to people. If your results suck, you're useless. Like, your job at a company is to make money for the company. That's actually your job at a company, is to make money for the company. What a shocker, right? And the company's job is to provide you an avenue to maximize your earning potential, obviously. Obviously. Otherwise, you find a different company, obviously. So there's a little bit of capitalism, a little bit of free market to play here, right? So with leadership, you have input and output, and with sales, you have input and output. So why do people not sell or lead to their potential? So let's explore, okay? You have input, you have output. Output in business and leadership, in sales, is very easy to measure. Output is just the money you're making. If you're a leader and people continuously quit on you or don't sell very much, and you make very little money, your output sucks. If you're a leader and people are selling well and growing, your output's good. So output is easy to measure. And this is going to be the first big point here, okay? I'm going to write this down. The only measure of competence is output. The only measure of competence is output. I'll say it one more time. The only measure of competence is, like, the only thing that's true is the result. I don't care if you're telling me you work hard, you do this, you do that. I don't care if you tell me you're doing everything right. If the results suck, you're not doing everything right, period. The only measure of competence is output. It's result. Results don't lie. You do, but results don't. The only measure of output, competence, the only measure of competence is the output, is the results. Okay? So we want to maximize our output. The problem is input. And there are two things that comprise the input, okay? Here's the two things that comprise the input, right? I'm going to move away from the board here in a second. It's your understanding of the situation. That's one. So the first thing that impacts input is your understanding of this. Like, are you understanding what's happening correctly? Okay? Example, again, so let's say you're calling on the phone and you say what you're selling, and the guy's like, hey, I'm just in a meeting. Can you call me back tomorrow? Okay? Now, if you've never done sales, what your understanding of that situation is, oh, he's busy, he is excited about what I'm selling, and he wants to talk tomorrow. That's your understanding of what is happening. If you're good at sales, what you understand is happening is the person has no interest in you calling them back, they don't want to talk to you, and they hope you will unalive yourself. They hope you'll kill yourself before you ever get a chance to call them back. That's actually what they want. Let me say it again. Prospect says, oh, that's great, but I'm busy. Call me tomorrow. That's the situation, and your understanding of the situation is like, oh, he wants me to call tomorrow. He likes me and wants to buy things. Wrong understanding. So you have to have the right input, okay? I'll give you another example. Somebody you're leading quits the company, and they're like, hey, man, I'm quitting, but you're a really, really great leader. If somebody's a terrible leader, their understanding is like, oh, I'm a great leader. I should keep doing what I'm doing. A good leader would be like, wow, they're quitting and telling me I'm a great leader. That means they really don't respect me. That means they really don't respect me. And there's signs that they don't respect you, right? I'm not going to get into them, but I know what happens next. If somebody quits and says you're a really great leader, well, what happens next? They're going to do the same thing at a different organization. They're just not going to have you as a leader. That's the ultimate sign of disrespect. That just means 100% they don't respect you. But they said I was a great leader. You're not understanding the situation correctly. Input means you have to understand the situation. I'll give you guys one more example. This is, again, my friend I talked about yesterday. He's 18, he likes a girl, and the girl's like, man, you're like my brother. We're such good friends. And my stupid 18-year-old friend is like, yeah, that means she likes me. It's like, no, she doesn't. She's literally hedging herself. Again, if you're inexperienced and you're incompetent, you will misread situations all the time. But here's the kicker. Ready for it? You will be so convicted that you're right that you will go to hell to prove that you're right. Like, I've had salespeople that are like, their whole counter is like, call back this guy, call back this guy, call back. I'm like, why are you calling them back? Oh, they were in a meeting. So all these 20 people on your counter were in a meeting when you called? Really? They were all busy, but they still all picked up the phone and still all told you to call back? And I've had salespeople that were so convicted they were right. They're like, I'm going to call them all back. I'm like, don't do it. It's stupid. They're like, no, you're wrong. I'm like, you haven't made a sale. How would you know I'm wrong? I've made lots of sales. And then I challenge them. I do the same thing. I'm like, look, no problem. You can call them all back. You're off base. Why am I off base? Well, I don't want to pay you to not take my training. So, hey, if I'm wrong, you're going to make more money. You're going to close all the sales. And inevitably, they quit because they understand that they don't know anything. They just want to be right. They don't want to have the results show they're right. Or they call those people back. They get blown off on the phone. They realize they're a clown, and then they quit. So, and that's fine. Hey, welcome to sales. If you think you're so right, then where's all the results? Because the only measure of competence is the output. So number one, you have to understand the situation correctly. You have to understand what's happening. How? Well, here's how you don't understand it if you're correct, okay? You cannot understand the situation if it's a new situation for you and you don't know the outcome. Like you can't go into sales and just understand what's happening. You need somebody who's ahead of you that's been through that situation 1,000 times before to tell you what's going on. And then you have a choice. You either accept it, like, hey, I'm stupid, I'm not getting the results, let me accept this training. Or you can be a real giant ass clown and just be like, I don't agree. Nobody cares if you agree. The market's going to pay you the results, the truth, okay? So you have to understand the situation. At our company, what we do with leaders, so call, analyzing with a Z or with an S? I don't know. Call analysis. There, that's a Y. That's an S. That's an S, yeah. Call analysis. So what is call analysis in our company? What happens is rookies make phone calls, leaders listen to them, and then they break down the call and explain what's happening. And they do a call analysis, do another call analysis, another call analysis, another call analysis. And here's the second point of this presentation, okay? The rule of 7 times. Rule of 7 times. I'll give you an example. In our company, on the phone, we have something called the confusion. A confusion is very simple. It's one of 3 predictable outcomes that a prospect will say on the phone. For example, if a prospect says, send me an email, call me later, send me some information, anything that the prospect says that requires a follow-up without a commitment from the prospect, we call that a confusion. And the way to handle a confusion in our company is very simple. When the prospect says, send me an email, we just say, hey, let me back up. I sell suits and shirts. I'm a tailor. That's it. So anytime the prospect says, send me some information, send me an email, call me tomorrow, I'm busy right now. Anything that's like call me later without a commitment from the prospect, we call it confusion. We only have one way to handle it. Hey, can you just call me tomorrow? Listen, Henry, let me back up. I sell suits and shirts. I'm a tailor. Yeah, but can you send me an email? Henry, I sell suits and shirts. I'm a tailor. We just keep repeating that. Anytime they try to push us to the future or push us to do something from it, just say, this is what I do. Because eventually they're like, oh, okay, I get it. You're selling suits and shirts. And then they understand there's no point in sending them an email to tell them what you're doing. It's clear to everyone. And this is the only training I give in the first week for a rookie. I'm like, when they say call me later, I'm like, just say, let me back up. Just repeat, okay? And so I tell that to you right now, just like I tell to the rookie. And the rookie understands that they get on the phone and the prospect's like, send me an email, and the rookie says something stupid. Like, when? Email you when? It's like, okay, let's start again. That's the wrong approach you took there, rookie. When the prospect says, send me an email, just repeat what you're selling. And they're like, I got it. When the prospect says, send me an email, I'll repeat what I'm selling. They get on the phone, the prospect says, send me an email. And the rookie says, what's the best email? I'm like, okay, rookie, we just covered this twice. Yes, the rookie's like, I get it. When the prospect says, send me an email, I'll say what I'm selling again. And they go the third time and they make the mistake again. Now, if you're a leader, raise your hand. If you've experienced this, all the leaders' hands are up. That's exactly what happens in leadership. You tell somebody to do something, they're like, I get it, and they do the wrong thing. You tell them to do something, I get it, they do the wrong thing. You tell them to do something, I get it, they do the wrong thing. The rule of 7 times, I stole this from the Hermosis, by the way, is a person needs to be trained on something 7 times. They need to be found out they're doing it wrong 7 times and explain how to do it right 7 times before they do it right the first time. So we do call analysis. We listen to calls together with the rookie. And what happens if, and here's I'm going to show you guys what bad leaders do, okay? Bad leader. Bad leader listens to one call with the rookie. He's like, hey, rookie, you're doing that wrong. You got it. When the guy says, send me an email, you say, let me back up. I'll tell you what I'm selling. I'm selling suits and shirts. The rookie's like, okay. And then the leader forgets about it, moves on with his life. A month later, the rookie sells nothing, gets fired. And then the leader's like, I don't know what's wrong with that rookie. I told him what to do. He just wouldn't do it. And then we pull up the rookie's calls. We listen to them. And on every single call, the prospect says, send me an email. And the rookie's like, sure, what's the best email? And then the leader, the bad leader's like, I told you that rookie sucked. I told him what to do and he didn't do it. I told you he sucked. And I say, no, you suck as a leader. Why? Because I told you the rule of 7 times. And I sucked as a leader because I had to repeat it for you 7 times. The rule of 7 times. I have to repeat to my leaders 7 times that you need to listen and analyze your rookie's calls with them in order to help them understand the correct situation. And then the rookie needs to hear it 7 times from you. Okay? The rule of 7 times. The only measure of competence is output. That's point number 1. The rule of 7 times. Point number 2. You need to train somebody 7 times on the thing they're doing wrong, and you need to catch them doing it wrong 7 times. And explain to them 7 times when you've caught them doing it wrong, and then you can expect maybe once they'll get it right. So this is a very intricate ongoing process. See, leaders get frustrated. Like I told him 3 times, he didn't listen. 7 times, minimum. You guys following me? So you need to have the correct input. You need to understand what's happening in the situation. And number 2, once you understand what's happening in the situation, you have to react correctly. You have to react correctly. I'll give you guys an example, okay? Of understanding situation. So we have a situation where a rookie says that they made, let's say, 100 dials, and they talked to 20 prospects today. Like, hey, I talked to 20 prospects, I didn't book anyone. Okay. And then we go into the dialer and we see that the person did not make 100 dials and did not talk to 20 prospects. Okay. So I go to the leader, I'm like, hey leader, you know, I went into the dialer for the rookie who said they got 20 contacts today and they didn't get 20 contacts, they're showing 0. And the leader's like, yeah, well, we don't really use the dialer in our office. They just call from their own phone. I go, okay. So let me ask you a question, Mr. Leader or Mrs. Leader. How can I evaluate the situation correctly to help the rookie improve if I don't know what the problem is? What do you mean we don't know what the problem is? They're calling and nobody's booking. I'm like, well, I don't know if they're calling because I can't actually see their numbers. Like we give them a company dialer and they don't use it, so I don't know if they're calling. And number 2, because they're not using the dialer, we can't listen to the calls to understand what's happening. How do we help that person? How do we help that person? Like, we have no input to understand the situation. How can we help? And the problem is, if you don't have the input to understand the situation, you can train the rookie like, here's what you do, blah, blah, blah. But what's actually happening? So I had a situation like that where we didn't know. And when we connected the rookie to the dialer, we understood that the rookie didn't understand what a contact was. They talked to 20 secretaries that day, and they're like, yep, did my job, talked to 20, nobody bought, oh well. And we're like, that would have been so easy to fix if we had just used the dialer to understand the problem. Another example was last week I had a rookie that reported 25 qualified bookings, which is an incredibly good amount of qualified bookings for a rookie in their 2nd month or 3rd month or whatever. However, we didn't have record of any of these bookings in our CRM. The bookings weren't there. So we contacted the rookies, like, where are these bookings in the CRM? Like, where are they? Should be under current meetings in our system. And the rookie's like, oh, well, they didn't actually book a time. They just said, call me back, but they're really interested. Ah. Okay. So I thought that I was dealing with a superstar rookie that I could really, really help improve and get better because he's just crushing it. And what I learned is I was dealing with a rookie that doesn't know what a qualified booking is, because in his mind, a guy that says call me later means he's going to book. He thinks there's 100% probability that person will book when the real probability is 0. He's 100% wrong. And so because I was able to look into his CRM, because we have a CRM, and see that he in fact didn't know, what a qualified booking is, and then I was able to call him out on it and talk to him about it, I understood that he was reading the situation wrong. And then I could teach him how to react. I'm like, hey, listen, when a guy says call me later, the correct way to react is to back up and tell him what you're selling again. Understanding the situation, reacting correctly. Understanding the situation, reacting correctly. Okay? The hardest part is not reacting correctly. Okay? I'm going to write this down. This will be point number 3, okay? The hardest part is not reacting correctly. So I'm going to write this here. What is the hardest part? Question mark. Is it reacting correctly? No. The hardest part is not reacting correctly. Is the hardest part understanding the situation? No. The hardest part is realizing that you don't understand the situation. The hardest part is realizing that you don't understand the situation. That's point number 3. The hardest part is understanding that you don't understand the situation. It's really hard. It's really hard to understand that you don't understand the situation because you're not competent enough. I literally had this on my drive over here where the leader made a very rookie error. Like a leader made a mistake that I know this mistake, I've done it before. I know it's wrong. My CEO coach that I pay $6,000 an hour for tells me not to do that because it's wrong. So I text my leader. I'm like, hey, you did this thing that I just saw you do and it's wrong. And the leader's like, no. And he literally wrote to me. He wrote to me, you're misreading the situation. That's what the leader, who has 0 leadership results ever, has never trained anyone to President's Club ever, has never trained anyone that stayed in the company ever, wrote to me that I'm misunderstanding the situation. How arrogant, huh? There it is. But the hardest part is realizing that you don't understand the situation. How do you realize you don't understand the situation if you're not competent enough to know what a good outcome looks like, right? Remember point number 1? We measure by results or by outcome. We measure by outcome. Point number 1 is we measure by outcome. So here's the rule. If your outcome sucks, it means you don't understand the situation. If your outcome sucks, you don't understand the situation. Because if you understood the situation, you wouldn't intentionally take actions to ruin your outcomes. Right? So if your outcome sucks, it means you're taking actions that ruin your outcome. And if you're taking action to ruin your outcome, it means that you don't understand the situation. You don't understand the situation. Your outcome sucks, right? Rule number 3, realizing that you don't understand the situation. And in between, you have to be taught 7 times. This is what I have to do with leaders. This is what you have to do with rookies. You have to be taught 7 times, but you have to catch them making that mistake 7 times. And in order to catch them making that mistake 7 times, you have to inspect what they're doing. On the phone, you have to listen to their calls to understand. In meetings, you have to go to their meetings to understand. And every mistake they make, you have to catch them doing it wrong 7 times and explain to them 7 times, okay? Last point. When you explain something to somebody, they might take different reactions. Let's just put it here. What might they do? They might accept that they're wrong. They may fight with you that you're wrong. They might change their actions, or they might not change actions. Okay? Accept it when you're wrong, folks. If you're fighting with somebody more competent than you, and you have no results to show anything otherwise, if you're fighting with somebody that's more competent than you need to accept the situation. If you are arguing with somebody who's better than you on what works and what doesn't work, when everything you've done before didn't work, you're a retard. You're a retard. That is like a retard. If you're arguing with somebody who's better than you and results clearly show it and you've got no results and you're telling that person that they're wrong even though you have no results to prove otherwise, you're a retard because you will not fundamentally understand that you don't understand the situation enough to argue the situation. Okay? So let's review. Number one, your results are measured only by your outcome. Number two, you need to catch somebody 7 times doing something wrong to fix it. This is for the leaders, 7 times, but you have to inspect. If your rookie sucks on the phone because they can't identify an objection, confusion, or a negotiation, the 3 only possible outcomes on a phone call, objection, confusion, negotiation, if they can't identify those things, it's because you haven't listened to enough calls to hear them make the same mistake 7 times on each of those things. You just haven't listened to enough calls to catch it. That's it. 7 times. And number 3, if your outcome sucks, it's because you don't understand the situation. That's it. You need to learn to understand the situation. How? You go to somebody better than you. If you're a leader in our company and you're having a problem with results with your rookies, you call our president, Jason. You're, hey, Jason, I'm having some problems. And Jason will go through a checklist with you to identify where the input is. Are they not making enough contacts? Are they not putting things in the system so we can inspect what they're doing? Are they misidentifying confusion, objection, negotiation? Right? Like what? The problem will be easy to identify if you've done this a lot of times. I can identify a problem with the rookie in about 2 seconds. Like, hey, I got a problem with the rookie. Yeah, here it is. And then as a leader, if you want to improve, you have a choice. You either accept that you're doing something wrong and you change your actions, or you're like, no, I'm doing everything right, and it's everyone else that sucks. You can be like that. And you will not grow as a leader, obviously, because you already know everything. How can we help you? Right? Accept your situation. Train people 7 times, and if the results aren't there, it means you're misinterpreting something, and you need to change your input variables, right? Because remember, folks, we're going to close now. Input leads to output. That's it. And input is understanding the situation and reacting correctly to that situation. And understanding the situation is probably what's missing. I appreciate you guys. We're going out with a cool outro video. Now?
I'm Alice Cooper, and this is LGFG.
Oh, I didn't even notice you have a two-tone suit going on.
Can
You're
I tell
a
you
wild
about this
man.
suit?
Please do.
Okay.
What's happening with that?
Company made this for me, LGFG. They made me a dozen suits.
Hey, I'm Russell Peters. This is LGFG, and this is my personal suit. You know what this means? Somebody got a new suit real bad today.
We have offices in more than 20 different countries around the world, and we come to our clients to save them time.
The quality of the LGFG suit comes right from the materials. We use the finest merino wool. It is spun in Europe with canvases coming from Italy.
What's going on, gang? This is Zach Wild, and this is LGFG.
Hey, this is Claudio Castagnoli. This is LGFG. Oh, yeah.
We own our own manufacturing. We supply hundreds of retailers around the world with their clothing. We're 100% verifiably carbon neutral. We were the first to open our doors and live stream all of our production. We are the first to avatarize your wardrobe, so when you scan the QR code in your garment, you can see yourself wearing the garment. Tens of thousands of clients and Hollywood movies trust us.
I'm Michael Franzese, and this is LGFG.
LGFG has good quality relationships with top European mills. We only use the finest buttons, threads, linings to meet and exceed the expectations of our high-end clientele.
These crazy people
at LGFG have made me all sorts of suits, and turns out I like them, so I wear them, and it's fun, and that's a good thing, you know?
Hi, my name is Lennox Lewis, and I'm really enjoying my suit. I'm the LGFG suit.
This feels like I was born in it. I can't say that for any other suit I've ever had.
This is the best wardrobe you will ever see in your life. I guarantee you're going to love the clothing.
Gentlemen, put on your suit. Let's get to work.